Hello and welcome to my Monday Miniatures Ramble for Monday the 29th of February 2016. I'm Dakian and you're looking at the Joe March miniature from Infamy Miniatures. I'm going to call her Evelyn 2.0 because I'm going to use her instead of the Evelyn character in my Strange Aeons troop. I've started painting her. Not much is completed. The pants, they're going to be this sort of light cream color. That's intended. And also sort of chest piece on the coat. That's also going to be this color. Everything else is just sort of undercoated. The coat is undercoated in a very, very deep blue. It's going to be a sort of mid-range blue when it's finished. Everything leather, it has a dark brown undercoat and also some brass fittings. And then there's a black undercoat for the stuff that's going to be silver metallic. And yeah, I'm taking my time with this model, just doing a little bit here and there. And yeah, we'll keep plugging away at her. So have a look at my new wolves. As I think I mentioned the plan was, I did them in two slightly different colors. I have these slightly darker ones, and they are on non-snow basis. The base is sprinkled with some autumn foliage and some normal static grass. And they have a sort of still have kind of gradient in color in the fur. These are slightly lighter and have some more scraggly grass tufts and snow. And I'm not sure. In person I kind of like the darker ones better, but on camera the lighter ones look pretty good. Oops. And as I mentioned, these four in the back with the lighter colors are by Reaper Miniatures, and these four in the front are from Foundry Miniatures. And yeah, I think I have all the wolves I need now for any sensible role-playing or miniatures gaming purposes. So next in line are this white gorilla and the ice spiders, which, as you can see, have all been started with some shading and well, there remains quite a lot of highlighting to do and also detail work like eyes and fangs and whatnot. As you can see, I've gone for a more bluish gray. I think that looks colder than just pure gray. You know, the way, for example, they painted just straight sort of black gray on this picture. Went for the more bluish tones. Looks more frosty. And well, and so this is where I've gotten to on all the bears. So these six are the Foundry bears, and this is the North Star bear. The Foundry miniatures were all extremely well cast. There were no mold lines on these at all, and just a minimal amount of flashing in some tight spaces like between the legs. However, this guy from North Star, he had a really bad mold line running right down his back that I had to take off and try to disguise. I mean, if I look closely, I can still see it. Hopefully, I can disguise it more with the painting. But yeah. So Foundry, high quality stuff. Top notch. And as you can see, what I've done is I glued them onto plastic bases to make them all the same size. Well, all these guys, the brown bears, are all on 40 mils. The black bears are on 30 mils, except for the cub, which is on 20 mil. And this is also 40 mil. This one is perhaps a bit outsized for the 30 mil, but for consistency. And I put down some green stuff to even out the transition. The next step is going to be, of course, to put on basing grit and then prime and yada yada. You know the drill. these are the next beasties in line. I think I showed you this pack last week. I could open it up as well. So what we have here, we have a boar and some giant rats. So, and what's this? Well, these are again some foundry miniatures, and they are just boars. We have 2 adult wild boars and a little piglet. Cute. So, anyway, I'll start prepping these for next week. These, this one has clearly more of a fantasy look with the bristles on his back. This one looks more like just a pig. Huh. Oh well. So for Malifaux, I've completed the gators. Now, this was a difficult challenge because alligators are green. The gremlins they're eating are mainly kind of a greenish color. I think they're supposed to be. And they're in swampland, which predominantly is green. So getting some differentiation in color is really difficult. So I decided to paint the scales on their backs a different color. This is not what real-world alligators look like, but hey, these are fantasy alligators. Now this one is he's already chowed down. There's just a hand sticking out from his mouth. This one has almost gobbled up the gremlin. And this one is still not broken. We'll have to see how long it lasts. Now this one, I'm not entirely happy with the fact, because the water effects, because this is the pre-sculpted base insert that came with it, and I'm not. I think it's because of the way it's sculpted. It's so drastically sculpted that the painting of it almost automatically becomes very there's such a strong differentiation. There's no subtlety about it, and I'm not sure if I like this or not. Oh well, a learning experience. Then we did the egg markers for the spawn mother, and in order to not just have them be one color, I painted like faint spots of various colors on them, almost Easter egg like, but not too glaringly obvious, I hope. And finally, well, in terms of completion, I have 2 leftover bases that I made, 150 and 140 millimeter for a swamp terrain. I have no idea what to use the 40 mil for. The 50 mil, well, originally I was going to use it for the spawn mother, but then I put her together and I realized she already came with an integral base, a sneak base. You can see little heads of her children, the gups sticking up there. This was a bothersome build. I just want to state for the record that super glue sucks. I really hate it as a product. It's the only thing you can use to glue metal together, and it's really, really iffy. This arm broke off twice. Finally, I had to pin it. And these little fins, the gill fins, they're only held together by a small amount of super glue. They will break off if I push too hard on them. And anyway, you can see all the joins that I've hidden with green stuff. Perhaps a little bit much of it obscuring some detail here on the back, but nobody's going to look at her lower back anyway. So that's as far as she's gotten. Now, I did have another idea for the 50mm base, and it is to build this guy, the Hooded Rider, which is on a 50mm base. You can see on the picture here they've done a sort of wood planking base, but he can be in a swamp. Great idea. And then I opened it up and saw what it's going to take to build this guy. This is the most horrendous miniature to put together I've seen in a long while. I mean, the main body with the rider is sculpted in one piece. So far, so good. But then we have an arm with a sword. We have tentacles. We've got, I don't know how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's like 10 tentacles with really small connection points that had to be glued on. And we have, what's all this stuff? I don't know, it's a tattered cloak is what it is. And the head of the horse. And another arm. And oh man, whew. This is going to be a challenge. I can tell that already. But, you know, check back next week and we will see how far I've gotten. Is his head even on here? I can't tell. Well. Well, Malifaux, the gift that keeps on giving. So nothing new completed as far as scenery goes this week, but I've started this tree, as you can see. Slapped a few coats of paint on it. Yeah, pretty far from being done, but you know, once I get moving on it might go rapidly. We'll see. Yeah, so I'm working on building this, the Ophidian archway. I've got some sub-assemblies complete. This, the various sub-assemblies have been glued to their bases so they can stand on something. This is the main portion of the wall. This is the walkway on top. These are the main side walls. And we have the pillars. So, interesting thing is it can be assembled a couple of different ways. You can have, let's see if we can zoom out a bit. Oh well, you can have the walls like this, where you sort of enclose this space, or you can turn it around and enclose this portion. But I think I want the dragon and the beasts to be the outer portion. So yeah, that's gonna be how it's done. And what happens next is that once you've attached one of these, you also add 2 of the pillars like this. Difficult to hold with a few fingers and give you some idea what it's going to look like. One thing I would like to criticize is that the fit is not perfect. I mean, this is supposed to go on like this, and you can see light between there. It does not go together perfectly, and which it really should, given you know that they control the casting of the plastic themselves perfectly. Of course, this gap is going to be covered from the other side by adding on pillars, so you're not going to see any light coming through, but there's still going to be a gap, and it'll be hidden by paint, of course, because it'll be dark in here. But a little bit annoying. Nobody's ever going to see it, but you know, it's the kind of thing that bugs me occasionally. And here we go with even more Age of Sigmar scenery, this time the Dragon Fate Days. Well, see, I am still waiting on my order from Fenris Games. They haven't even started packing it as far as I know. They seem to be having some problems at their end. But it's okay, it's a small company, and I expect sometimes to have delays. So I went down to the store and picked up what looked interesting, and what do we have here? Ooh, a lot of different pieces. Ooh, nice big ruined base, and some sort of, oh, this is the platform which is up top. And here's the stairs. And here we have some flames, I think, for the torches or whatever. Instructions? Don't need those freaking instructions. I kid, I will look at them. And here's the actual pillars, sort of things on top with the braziers. So, yeah, this one seems slightly more complex to put together. I'm gonna have to think about and do some dry fitting and figure out if I do want to assemble everything prior to painting. I probably do. It doesn't look like, I mean, from the picture, I can't see that I will block off any areas from painting by assembling it fully. So I probably will. Anyway, that's a brief unboxing. You'll see more next week. Well, will you look at that? I'm almost caught up. Almost isn't good enough, of course. But and I oh, by the way, before I go on, what's this in the background? Well, it's a couple of items that I will be posting reviews of sometime in the coming weeks, probably. A little bit of a preview hint there. Anyway. The reason I'm feeling a bit stressed about my total painted is that the total purchase is going to go up sometime this spring by quite a lot, because I backed a Kickstarter over a year ago called Toughest Girls in the Galaxy 2. I backed it for quite a lot of money, and it's probably gonna wind up being somewhere between 50 and 60 models in the end that get delivered, and they will arrive this year. I mean, they're a little delayed. The original delivery date was supposed to be March 2016, and they haven't quite gotten the pledge manager out yet, but they probably will get the pledge manager out, and you know, I expect that stuff to arrive sometime in the summer, probably, maybe early fall. And I need a buffer before then. I need to be like at plus 50 minis, you know, above what I purchased previously before that arrives, if I'm gonna keep the balance. But I have some ideas about that, how I'm going to paint a lot of minis. One way of painting a lot of minis is painting these natural animals that I've been doing. Because they're easy. I mean, an animal doesn't have a lot of different kinds of texture or material on it. It's mostly just fur, and you paint it one color, or you know, with slight variations, and you're done. And I do have some speed painting projects in my back pocket that I can pull out when need be. So yeah, that'll be all for this Monday. There might be an extra video before next Monday. Don't want to promise too much, but I do have something lined up to surprise you a bit. You'll just have to wait and see what that is. But until then, have fun, keep painting, and Dakian is signing off.